Oh my God. So you know my obsession with these stupid plushies, right? So
Yes.
I ordered like a big one and they gave me like a free like concert series, like I don't even know, they're like Martians. But oh
Okay.
my God, this is yours.
Oh my God, it's so perfect.
If I couldn't have pulled a pink and purple octopus that has musical instruments, I don't know if I could. Like,
It's
if
too
this
perfect.
doesn't go on your bookshelf, I'm gonna be very
Oh, it's
sad.
100%. It's gonna go like right here, right there on the shelf. Like it's perfect.
Hey guys, welcome to the Dark Collective podcast with your host, Miss Red, and we have our other host, the ever so gorgeous, so monster mothering lovely Bethany is here.
These intros get so much more like eccentric as they go, and it's my favorite thing.
Girl, we're season 2. I gotta like step my game up. Like it's gotta be better and better.
It's just gonna
Like,
keep growing. It's like 7, 8, 9 different like descriptions for that person.
I know. And, today's episode I'm so excited about because we have the ever so gorgeous Elizabeth Knight. And the funny thing is, her book, Not Is All Lost, is the very first Omegaverse book I have ever read. And it was.
I loved it so much.
So we have a fun story about this. So I actually, I got to a part where they talked about the knot. And in the specific scene, without giving X-rated, because this is going to be everywhere, we can curse, but I don't want to get banned from everywhere.
Yeah.
They were talking about it. I got really confused because I was like, wait, there's the stick. Is that the berries? Like, I'm so confused. And so I typed it out to Bethany and I was like, good morning. I basically asked her what it was. And I literally was like, I can feel you laughing. And she's like, don't know if I should voice text it or draw it. And so Allison, our other host, literally explained to me what it was, and I could not stop laughing. And I sent the video to Bethany.
It's so fantastic. But no, that was also my favorite. But then waking up this morning, I kid you not, I wake up within like 2 seconds of being awake, I get a text message. Red, what was that text message?
So let me read the exact text message I sent to Bethany. It said, Bethany in all caps.
All caps.
Omega, first heat, 4 alphas, 2 betas. I'm screaming with 9 Gs.
It was fantastic. I legit just woke up, rolled out of bed, grabbed my phone, and I was just like, this is where we're at today.
Mm-hmm. Like I literally I knew this universe existed, but I came from fantasy to dark romance, and then to like reverse harems and white shoes, and now I'm in Omegaverse,
Right.
and I'm just like, I never want to leave here. This is fantastic.
It's so much fun. I think your other text was just like 3 chapters. They're still going 3 chapters
Yeah.
straight, and I was like,
Yeah, it was a
yep.
3-chapter smut scene. It was fantastic. I was like, and maybe I'm not exactly correct on that, so don't hate me for that, but it felt like it was.
Right.
And like, I was on my drive to my nail appointment, which is a 2-hour drive, and it was at least 45 minutes of me just doing this. Mouth open, gaping,
Complete.
like bright red, barely breathing. Like, this is, love every minute of it. Love every
It's
minute
fantastic.
of it. I know, but now I know. So, crazy thing is, while we're recording this, exactly 4 months away from Sinners. Can you believe that?
No, I can't. No. I don't even believe it's April.
Yeah, right. It's volume 2, which is crazy that we're already into our second year. Crying, screaming, throwing up. We know that feeling.
100%.
I think the biggest changes this year is we're obviously having the ball at Boston Park and the ballroom. The ballroom.
That's just it in and of itself. I remember us walking into that the very, very first time and just being completely speechless. Just completely speechless. It is so beautiful. And then we saw the vision of what it can be when we're there, and now we get to see even more of what it's gonna be when we're gonna be there. And I'm not ready. I'm going to cry again. Every single year I walk in, I'm going to cry. It's just so gorgeous, and like just to see all the hard work come and just be there,
No, I remember walking in that ballroom. I was with Danny, and Jenn had grabbed me, you, Joy. We were all together, and I walked in, and I just went, what? This was hiding behind that tiny ass door? Like
This little door.
This little door on the second floor on the mezzanine, but the main entrance is downstairs, but like you don't realize that there's that tiny door that lets you into this giant ballroom.
Because you almost feel like you're coming underneath it. Because you're coming in against that small door, and there's like the whole like second level that you're coming under, and then you're just like, oh, okay, there's a lot going on here.
No, I know. But you know, like we're working on a lot of things, guys. We can't really spill too much beans, even though we're so close, because we love to drop surprises at the last minute. But Bethany, you're working on something else other than volunteers are her baby. We all know this, but you're doing something with them. What are you doing, and what can you talk about?
Right. So I'm just like, okay, what is declassified at this point? Um, 4 months out, but we are doing more of a specialized group. We're calling the decor team. I'm not going to spill the name yet because that's still coming. But they are going to be assisting like Joy and our decor team and Jen with putting together certain things to elevate experiences and make it just, again, absolutely stunning. So being on that team, being on the meeting with our actual like decor team, our decorators that we have coming in, seeing their vision, pulling together our vision, it is going to be, again, absolutely stunning. I expected nothing less, but there are certain like surprises and things that I am dying that I can't say, and there's some things that we can't say until then. And then when people see it, they're just like, this was one of the things. I know it was one of those things that you guys were like anxiously waiting to tell everybody. So it's a big moment when everybody walks in.
It's just, you know, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is like the full engulfed experience. And like we want you to walk in and literally, my goal has always been like, I want them to walk in like not knowing anything, and then they walk out being like, when is it again? I need it to happen right now. And like, you know, just have those memories. And like, I'm super excited just because there is a lot of really cool things, like a lot of great photo ops that we're going to create this year, which I'm really excited about. So you guys, either way, if you're not going, just come next year. Like if you can't, and if you want to go this year, get on the resale thread. It's on our Facebook.
Socials, like,
stalk our socials. We're always putting stuff up there. So, all right. Well, we are going to get started. And Bethany, who do we have today?
We have the ever so lovely, ever so gorgeous Elizabeth Knight.
All right, you guys. So please enjoy. All right, you guys. So please welcome the ever so beautiful Miss Elizabeth Knight is here.
Hello.
So we are so excited to have you. But first of all, tell us, how do we find you on socials?
So I am mainly on Facebook and Instagram. My Instagram has a link in the bio that goes to all of my social media. So I try and keep it all super central. So one-click wonder.
Oh, I love that. One-click wonder. That is my new favorite thing I've heard so far on here. All right, so we're going to kind of just run right into it. I told Elizabeth right before we started recording that I just finished her book, Not All Is Lost, and so there will be questions about that, but I digress. So first off, what genres do you write?
So I write, everything I write is RH. So all of them will have 3+ guys. I tend to be somebody who loves a big harem. So for me, my comfort is like 6 people, and people are like, "Wow, that's a lot." But I'm like, "But it works for me."
Yeah.
But I also am well known for my badass women. So I have some MC, I have some mafia. I'm writing a new one now that the second book just came out. That is, she's the criminal mastermind of the. I think of her kind of like the show Blacklist.
Oh, I love that show. That was such an underrated show.
Is Raymond Reddington.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So she will find any weapon anywhere and give it to anyone as long as they're willing to pay the price. And she, I say, is like Deadpool and Harlequin had a baby.
Okay, I'm here for it.
Right, she's nuts. She's
She's nuts.
I tell people, I'm like, she is the walking red flag. She is the anti-hero. Like, she's a lot. But yeah, I also do Omegaverse, which is what Not All Is Lost is. So I kind of have this weird dichotomy of like super dark to super fluffy. There's not really,
but that's like our group. That
hard.
literally is like the Dark Collective in the perfect way of saying it. Like, it's real dark, but it's fluffy. That is the dichotomy is literally, it's just so perfect. Like, I love it.
Yeah. I'm always like, it's my inner monologue is darker, where my outer is the fluffy. So it's the truth of my personality in what I write in this span.
That's because that's how I describe Bethany. Because Bethany looks like this cute little, like, dainty little human, but inside she's raging. You know, like it kind of fits.
I blame it. I'm growing up in Chicago. You know,
yeah,
gotta be scrappy.
Oh, 1000%.
I love that. So we talk about, you know, what genres you write, but I love this question. I love asking it. Um, One, like, what is your writing routine like? Are you kind of like, you plot everything more of like based on vibes, based on moods? I'm always super curious.
So I am absolutely a pantser. I will fly by the seat of my pants.
I love that.
And it's one of those things where sometimes it gets me into trouble. So
Oh
part
no.
of my process is I buddy work with Devin Sinclair.
Oh,
And
cool.
so her and I will work online. So we'll both do a video call. Usually we're, through the most part of the day, like we make our own business hours. So we're
Right.
both like not morning people. So we do like from noon to 5 and we'll work.
I love that.
And it's just nice to then, we're both single, we both live alone, and it's nice to have, you know, your best friend hanging out with you all day.
Absolutely.
Um, but sometimes I'll talk things out with her because I'm like, my children are doing something and I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know what they're doing.
And the thing that Devin always laughs about is in Capriani Queen. She is the underboss of the mafia, first female underboss. And there's this scene where there is a head in a box. And Devin's like, well, whose head is in it? And I said, I don't know. And she's like, how do you not know? And I was like, I haven't opened it yet.
Oh my
How am I going to know if I haven't opened it yet? It's like, I don't understand. How do you not know? And I was like, well, it could be like 4 different people. So I don't know. I haven't opened it yet.
That's so valid. I haven't opened it. They don't know. I don't know.
I love it though because it's like a weird version of the movie Seven, but it's way more entertaining.
Yeah. So, yeah, I always say that my characters are like actual people to me.
Aw.
And Dax, who is the leading lady in my Hidden Empire, she was the first badass that I wrote, and that kind of launched off my career. But I always tell people that she's my inner monologue. Like, she's the one who says all the things that in your brain that you wish you could.
You wish
but
you could
can't.
say, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was how she was created. And I thought I was only going to write this amount of books. And she goes, yeah, no, we're going to need another one. I have far more to say. So I had all of this planned out where the books are in rhyme with redfish, bluefish. So it's 2 tricks, 3 tricks, 4 tricks, more tricks.
Oh my god.
That's
And then
epic.
she threw off my mojo by making me write another one, and I was like, "What? How am I? There's no more left in the poem." So then I just had to pick one that worked. So our tricks ended up being.
That's
I
epic.
was like,
Close, like
"What?" I was like, "You threw off my groove."
Threw off my groove. So I finished. I literally when I talked to Elizabeth, when we were booking this, I said, "Oh, I'm reading it," but I have finished the first. Not All Is Lost.
Oh,
First of all, I am going to ask this question, but I do have to ask a little side question. How do you come up with the names? Because the name Cambry, spelled the way you spelled it, I was like, I've never even heard that before. So I do want to know how you came up with her name.
So I wanted a name that has good nicknames, but I also put in a little. It's spelled like the cheese brie.
oh my god. I just fell in love with this character.
That is such
Ready?
a...
You understand that she has this obscene love affair
With
Not
cheese.
like, yeah,
with
like,
cheese.
Yeah, it is the one thing where if anybody's in trouble with her,
Bring her
there's
cheese.
something with
Just bring her fucking cheese. That's all she wants.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
And so I thought it would be cute to take the name and then spell it with cheese in it.
Girl, like but the thing is, I love reverse harem, but this was my first like Omega verse. So how did you get into Omega verse that got me into Omega verse?
So I actually will blame LV Lane for this.
Okay.
She is one of the godmothers, besides Catherine Moon, to Omegaverse. And I love me a good possessive man. And there's something about that dichotomy of the needing to be sheltered and coddled and
Yes.
that is like, they have to sustain that. Like, that is part of their need and nature and care, is that they have to have physical attention. It's like the one thing that we women wish that every man would do, and it was like, I can make the picture perfect group of men that
With 6+
fit
people.
all of our needs. Right.
And that's my favorite. Like,
it was the perfect blend of how I could make it like super sweet without people groaning and being like, God, this is like over the top, because it's part of the system.
yes,
So
exactly.
it kind of gave me a chance to play. And I say that Not All Is Lost is Omegaverse with a little grit.
No, I agree. Like I think that's why I like it so much, is because like I'm like the fantasy girl that went to dark romance, that went to reverse harem and why choose, and then to your book. So then, you know, because I like to cluster read, where I read one kind of like world and then I'll move to the next world. And I loved it so much because I didn't actually think about how you said that. You said it's sweet but not like I didn't even think like that until you said it, and I was like, it is overly sweet, but it's not in a bad way, because you have these like super masculine alphas like Nixon. I can't wait till Nixon's story unfolds more, because I know there's more there. But like, for those of you who have not read the book, this is no spoilers. But you know, it's Marius, and like I really couldn't visualize Raphael until the scene that took up like 3 chapters, which you know I'm talking about. I'm not going to say what it is. It was fantastic. But like until that scene, I finally started to like see in my head what Raphael looked like. And I was like, oh, he's older than what I thought. You know what I mean? And it was
Hashtag daddy.
Yeah. Oh, 1000%. And I love that you have a golden retriever in there, but he's like almost like a broken golden retriever. You know what I mean? It's
The best. We love.
I'm just praising you at this point, but like it literally was such a well-written group of men that praised her but didn't feel icky. Like I loved that.
Yes. Yeah. And which is interesting, because when I wrote that, Omegaverse was not as common as it is now. So it was in the very beginning when people were still navigating that. And people hated the age gap. And granted, you know, she's 18 and Raphael is almost 40. But in a sense, I kind of, in my brain, thought of it like shifters. Like, you don't begrudge. When you're a mate, you're a mate.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. You're meant to be together. There is no ill intent behind that. They can't have ill intent behind it. And so it ended up in the wrong crowd of people, and I got slandered.
Really?
So bad. Oh, yeah. If you go back and look at some of the reviews, like, I can't look at them anymore.
Well, I would never want you to.
They were the first time that I ever got attacked for being me as a person, which was entirely falsely claimed. You know, I was blamed for grooming and this, that, and the other, and I was like, I'm sorry, she is 18. There was consent given.
Yep.
And there was conversations, and people are like, oh, she was so young. And I was like, it doesn't matter if you're 3 days over 18 or not.
You're 18.
You're an adult.
Yeah, you're an adult. And I think, but I also think you wrote that very well. I think it's very important for even our listeners to hear, like, it's the way that you wrote her because of her story. And again, I'm trying not to do spoilers here because it's so freaking good. But what she had to go through before she got to them, like a lot of people can relate to that. And yeah, it may age you down a little bit because of the things that you went through, but it's the way that the men in that world, like in her world, asked her every time, are you okay with this? Is this all right? This is what happens. Are you good with this? So it's, that to me is not valid. To me, it's more valid if you understand the positioning behind it. And I think the way you wrote it was just so good.
Well, and before I was an author, I was a hairstylist, nail technician. So
that's what I do.
Hey. So I have so many clients, and I had therapist clients and things like that. So it's like I would bounce things off of them, and I had grounding in what I was doing and why I was acting, having her act as innocent, you know, as she is. And it's really not a spoiler, because I think it even says it in the blurb, but her dad is basically abusing her emotionally, never physically. But, well.
She's like,
well, I should say there is no sexual.
No.
But it just is this when you are locked away and you are kept away from socialization, it delays your response to things and delays how you interact with people.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I really wanted to show, is how somebody, even though they feel very broken and they feel that they don't have a leg to stand on, can grow stronger with the right support. And, you know,
Right.
I write my badass women, but I also always say that strength can roar or it can whisper. Because people
I like that.
that have to go through some shit in their life, they may not be yelling at the top of their lungs, but they're surviving every day. And that in and of itself is strength too. So that's why I do a lot of focus on, in my Sunshine and Rainbows Omegaverse, that focuses on mental health, physical disability that will never go away. She's not magically made perfect. She has a congenital heart defect. And, you know, I wanted to really go back and write things that are true for everybody's life. You know, people are in abusive relationships, and then they find the person that really makes them whole and gives them the strength to find out what they really love and what they enjoy and how they want to be the person they want to be.
Yeah.
And that was what I really wanted to show in Cambry's story, is that they were like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go to school? Do you want to do this? Like, you know, they gave her every option. They were like, try it out, figure out what you want. And, you know, that's kind of, I want people to be able to see somebody like them that isn't perfect, because the world isn't perfect.
It's not.
And find that they're valid for love too.
Yeah. And for those of you who haven't read it, you need to read it, because the villain in this story is a good villain. You want to throw the book across the room because you're mad. But
yeah,
and
I also get made fun of a lot because I don't like angst. Like, I don't like interrelationship angst. I think it irritates me, and I'm like, I can't write it. I don't really love reading it, and I know that there's, you know, something for everyone. But I was like, I always get teased because I have to have an outside thing, and I didn't realize it, but it tends to be overthrowing the government, which, if you knew me, I'm not political really at all. And it just was funny because I was like, well, it's one thing everybody can get behind. Everybody can be mad.
Everybody
at
can
that.
get mad at something for some reason.
And that is how I usually tend to write my books. Now, I took 8 months off last year for mental health reasons. I was getting burnt out, needed to get my shit together. And so I gave myself time off as much as I needed. But there was a year gap between her first book, and the second book. So my version of a recap is I made little cartoons of the guys that don't really like each other.
Oh my God.
Telling the story.
That's fantastic.
And it's like, if you know the characters, she has this equally morally gray men. So she has Bear, who I say is the hulking beast of a man, covered in scars. He has his tongue cut out, so he speaks in sign language, but he is devoted to her. Like, anytime a man sleeps with her, he will let him leave and then go stalk him down and then kill him, and then, you know, like, you
love
saw my
everything
woman
about this
naked,
so far.
and now
I'm already here for it.
Right? So then there's also Reverse Stockholm, where she ends up kidnapping a guy.
Oh my
and
God.
sticks around.
I just want to hang out in your brain for a little while. I feel like it's just, you're exactly what you said you were. I'm just like looking at you like, she looks like a sweet little tiny baby, but she's got something going on up in there.
He said, like, he just like stalks them and then like bops them and then like.
Right, yes. You know, and they were friends with benefits, because he's like, I'd rather you use me than use somebody else, and I know you won't love me, but that's fine. It's
fine.
better for the world.
Oh my God.
You know, so then one of the other guys that I introduced, he is a con artist, and he goes by Cronus, which is Greek mythology for a raven. And so he uses the raven as his marker, and he sent her a letter, and hidden in invisible ink was this raven and a bear cartoon where they were yelling at each other. And so I took that idea and then did the recap with the cartoon bear in the cartoon.
That's fantastic.
And so they were just kind of having this, but it's like, you could skip it if you don't want it.
But see, that I like, though.
You
You make it easy for the reader to make the decision.
So, okay, I'm obsessed with all of these characters already, and I can hear my TBR, the stacking of the books
Just
on the
slowly.
But I'm really curious because we did talk about a couple different characters, and I'm going to ask the most. Nobody likes this question. One of those impossible questions, but do you have a favorite character that you've written? It could be like more recently you're loving this one, or like somebody who was like your first. Like,
so I typically say Dax because they're like people who know me and read that series are like, oh my god, I hear you so much in this story. And
Okay.
it was the first series that like stalked me until I wrote it, because Dax is that person who's just like, hi, hello, like, bitch, sit down and write shit. And I was just like, all right. And
like
she
we got you.
just was like, every time I wanted to say something to another character that was pissing her off or whatever, and I was like, all right, go ahead, say it. She was
There you
like,
go.
yes. And so that is one reason why I love her, is because it was such, I feel like, a growth for me as an author to have reached that like next level. And it was my fourth series that I wrote, and it was just kind of that I found my stride. Like, I found my niche where I was like,
Okay.
this, if you look at my catalog, I literally have everything. When people are like,
No,
oh,
you
wait,
do. I literally looked you up after because I once people get accepted, we announce, we do all that kind of stuff, and then I like to go to Amazon and just kind of see, and then I look at the Goodreads, and I was like, oh, she does like everything, like she does everything.
I have Mercenaries and Dragons, Medieval, Shifters, Elemental Magic University, and it was like I was trying to find what it was that I really wanted to do, but I had all these ideas, so I was like, whatever, we'll just like write them along the way. And then I found the niche, and I was like, all right, this is where we go. But then the same thing happened also with Not All Is Lost, which is when I then stumbled into that bracket. So it was like I found the bubble that I wanted to be in, and I just kind of go for it.
I just can't wait for you to go to Sinners, because I know your readers are going to be amped just to see you and pick your brain. So you, like I said, you're kind of everywhere. You've dipped your foot in every pond. So how long have you been writing?
So this April 14th will be 5 years.
Tomorrow.
That's it?
Yes. And
Shut your mouth.
41.
Oh my goodness.
That is so impressive. Like, I literally was waiting for you to say like 11 years. That's what I was thinking.
all that experience.
So literally double what's happening right now. How did you go from hair to books?
So I grew up in Illinois and went to beauty school there, and then worked for Lifetime Fitness and did hair and nails for that company. And then I decided that I didn't want to live in Illinois anymore, and my grandparents had lived out here in Arizona and fell in love with it. So I transferred with Lifetime. And then I was like, all right, I want to try something different. And when I transferred, I became the full-time nail tech and built my business. And then ended up moving to a more like boutique that was more into nails, that gave me more nail clients. And then I ended up doing my own salon suite and taking all of my clients from there and doing that. And then COVID. So my building was shut down.
And that was going to be my question.
Same, because I was in Salon Republic, so like our whole building shut down.
Yeah, we were in one of the Phoenix salons.
Oh yeah, Phoenix Salon Suites.
Yeah. And so thankfully our owner chose not to force us to pay rent while the building was shut down, because it was not our choice. In Arizona, they said if you get caught working, you will have a $20,000 fine and you will lose your license forever.
Oh my.
And so all of us were like, all right, I'm not gonna fuck with that. That's fine. Like, I hear you. I would like my job. Thank you. So a good friend of mine at the time was like, you've had that story that you've kind of been working on, and that was Discovering Synergy. It was the very first book that I wrote, and I was like, okay, like, I have it done. And she's like, well, publish it. She's like, what is everybody doing? They're just reading. And I was like, all right. So I published that one, and it went well. And then I wrote Hidden Hope, which was the beginning of a Shifter series. And I do not know what happened. I do not know what crack I put in the cover, the blurb. I don't know. It literally shot off. And I sat back, and I was like, what is
Like,
happening
what's
right now?
going on?
Like, I knew nothing. I was so ignorant and just was like throwing things out there, and I was like, I don't know, here you go, have fun. And it just like flew off the scale. And it then came to the point where I had to pick being good at one thing or the other. That I was not doing the best that I could at nails or at writing because I was dividing my time between the two. So I kind of did the math and was like, well, I'm making double doing writing than I am doing nails. But I have clients that I've had for years that have become such good friends that I was like, I don't know.
Don't want to lose
But
them.
then, I had to make the choice. So I think 2021, December of 2021, I decided to stop doing nails and then went full-time writing. And that's when I wrote 14 books that year.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
I mean, that's
don't
what
recommend that. Please.
Like...
I do not recommend that. That was
You're like, that's not a good thing.
no. That's called the ADHD hyper focus of epic.
So you were just like fully in front of the computer just that whole year, just 14 books.
I would write 2 books at the same time.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, math wise, it's like 1 and some per month. Which is...
there was one month that I ended up writing 3 books at the same time. It was a bad month.
But also, like, I like, it's so valid though, because that's how I read or I'm doing something. It's like 4 different things at the same time. Like, I can't focus on like one thing unless I am hyper focused on that one thing. And you will hear nothing about anything else except for that one thing until I'm done. Like, it's just every single time.
And it's hard because being an audiobook girly, I can't. I can go back and forth, but I just can't. Like, I literally can't. Like, I have to finish. And it's not as easy as, like, my whole goal was to read one book from every author from Sinners. Nope, because then I read one book of a series, then I have to finish the series.
Finish the series.
I mean, but that's fair. Like, how could you leave it unfinished?
Exactly.
Which I applaud you for that, because, like, I am the person who leaves things unfinished a lot. Because, again, I jump. I'm like, oh, this was so much fun. I'll come back 2 years later. Still haven't gotten back to it. But that's just, it's every single time. And that's why I'm like, I'll pick up a little novella, or I'll start a very large series and just be like, this was so much fun. I'm happy, they're happy. We're just gonna keep that there. Everybody's happy. And then come back sometime when I want to go through that whole thing again.
Well, and people used to get frustrated with me because, well, my readers, I should say, because I don't write linearly. I rotate. So I won't write in the same series back to back. My brain needs a break. Like, I have to, like, because my brain...
Right.
Because I'm ADHD, it's like, we just did this.
You have to refresh kind of thing.
It's like, I need something new. So that was why I was writing 2 books at the same time. But now I flip-flop. So it's like, I will write one book, and then I'll write another book, and then I'll write another one. But,
do you flip-flop, like, the genre, or just...
Oh, yeah. So I was writing Omegaverse and Vaughn at the same time. Like, I was Darkest Dark to... fluffy.
I feel like that's a really good balance too, though. When you're writing, and you talked about how you're writing with 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 different books at once, are you going back and forth between like different genres, different parts of the series, or?
Yes. Yeah. So I do tend to flip flop in genre, and sometimes it'll be like I'm writing my dark books and then I'm writing my light books in the same, wheel of time, and then. I try not to have now, because I'm learning healthy boundaries on writing and my brain, and I would like to do this job for a very long time, and I did not have good, healthy boundaries, which is why I ended up writing 14 books in 1 year. That is not sustainable. So my brain likes to have that total juxtaposition. I am a huge lover of contrast in everything. Covers that I love are usually like neon with like darker colors, so it's like I'm always attracted to that. So it makes sense why I would write the darkest dark and the fluffiest at the same time, because why not?
I mean, that makes sense. It's a good balance,
Yeah.
Are you currently working on anything new? Or are you working on two things new at the same time? Any like little snippets you can give? Or
I love when Bethany gets excited because her hands just go up like this and she gets really excited.
Yes. I am working. I am not super skilled at doing standalones because I have too much to say. So they always end up in duets. And I'm like, I need to like have a standalone. And I've done 2 of them, but they were part of a shared world. So I feel like they're still attached to other people's concepts. And yeah, it's not mine alone. Mm-hmm. So I am working on a story right now that is going to be shifters. I want to kind of bring back a little bit more of the paranormal because I walked away from that for a while. So I want to bring that back in just because I think they're fun. And I will give you some of the tropes because I have shared that.
Yes. Give me everything.
It's going to
be writing this down.
Feline shifters.
Okay.
She is a fennec fox.
Ooh. Fennec foxes are
the rejected mate with no redemption.
Okay.
No take backsies.
Okay.
He makes his choice and that is it. We don't forgive that. Not in my world.
That's why I paused. I was like waiting for
yeah, I was like, no.
My heart. I'm sorry.
She is a singer-songwriter.
Oh.
And the guys are a CEO and accompaniment of a record label. So,
I can see
stuff in there.
But
yeah, she is a girl who is trapped in a unhealthy relationship, but she believes in her core that this man is going to be her mate. And life happens, things happen, and she ends up with a group of lions. Well, there's going to be lions, jaguar, cougar, snow leopard.
Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with snow leopards. You just have all the pretty shifters, and I'm just the Arctic fox, the snow. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
So if you want to read something still feline shifter, I do have a standalone Nicolette. It's an MC gang. So this one I will selfishly share just because it's one of my favorite taglines that I ever came up with.
Okay.
So Nicolette is an indentured servant to a gangster leprechaun.
What?
You were so ready. The way you
were like, they're going to live for this.
I was like, I've learned I now have to pause. Because
absolutely.
Everybody's always like, whoa.
You have to you pause, you give that that little bit of suspense build, you say it, and then you just wait.
Yes.
You let it register fully.
Because if I start talking, no one will hear.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with this in every way, shape, or form.
So she ended up signing a contract and didn't read the fine print. And she has to sell her body one way or the other. So she decided to become a cage fighter.
Oh.
There's so much here to unpack.
There's so much happening.
And then she gets saved by a pride of feline shifters.
Dang, girl. Like, I have to... My TBR is just, woo.
I see Red just text me later, Bethany, I read 32 books.
I try to listen to audiobooks at home, but my dogs get mad because I'm not paying attention to them. That's a different story. They're needy little fucks.
I'm like opposite though. Like I listen to audiobooks, I'm doing 17 things. Like
I can do it while I'm cleaning, but when the hubby is home and the dogs are hanging out, negative ghostwriter. So, so you write 18,000 books a year with every genre known to mankind with leprechauns and shifters and cute little foxes. So, with that being said, when you are not doing all of those amazing things, what are some things you like to do that don't include writing?
So I am a bit of a nerd.
You're in a safe space here.
I now have 2 Studio Ghibli. I've just owned it.
I can't.
I get stopped everywhere I go where they're like, oh my God, it's Studio Ghibli. and I've just embraced it. It's fine. But tattoos, is that a hobby?
I feel like
Girl, you just can't see it because I'm code, but like you're talking to someone who's full
Like,
covered. Like I get it. Like I'm right there with you. Bethany's like, I've got some pen marks.
Actually, I have.
I cut my leg one time.
Oh shit, you have rainbow freckles. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, my eyebrows are tattooed as well.
That's they're tattooed pink.
Mm-hmm.
See, okay. So now I don't feel so bad when I used to bleach my brows and make them pink and orange ombre, and I almost did get them tattooed, but I was like, I don't know if I'll have pink and orange hair forever. That was 17 years ago.
Yeah, see?
Will I have it forever?
Because I can, do my hair myself, it's not as hard for me to keep it this way. So
that's fair.
So I get it. So your loves are hair and tattoos.
Do you get your
one
nails
more?
done too?
Give me one more.
I do. So I do enjoy going to Comic-Cons that go to the Phoenix Comic-Con here a lot. I don't read books often. I read manga because my brain is so tired of words.
Exactly.
That's very common with the authors we talk to though. Like they'll read their friends' books, the other authors they write with and stuff like that. And it's not like they don't want to support other authors. It's just like literally when your job is to create worlds in words, the one thing you don't want to do when you're relaxing is read more worlds with words. You know what I mean? Like I totally get that.
Audiobooks have definitely also been, higher up on my list of consuming creativity. But yeah, I love reading different mangas, and because there's different tropes there that you can't do as well in written. Like there are some things that I'm like, you have to have the imagery along with it to make sense. It's very hard to describe like certain expressions or like within one picture of a guy clenching his fist, you're like, oh, I know.
You're like, oh, something's happening.
You're like, oh. But it's like you can't really do that with the same impact in words. So
yeah. There's a lot you can do, but like I do understand like the imagery. Which is why I'm just always so obsessed with fan art and appreciative of like I wish I had the talent. But I am curious. When you talked about, you started 5 years ago, which is tomorrow. Again, congratulations. This is such a big achievement. Like I'm so excited for you. What is something, again, you kind of talked about you were doing one thing and then the world, right? When you started, what is something that you wish you knew or that you did know maybe, you wish you knew? Things like that. Any advice you would have given to baby author?
2020 COVID Arthur. Like what would you be like, girl, you need to know this?
I think one of the biggest things for me that I talk about often that I was like, I had no idea what I was getting into is how much responsibility there is in this job. It is not just writing. Mm-hmm. It is advertising. It is, dealing with accounting, dealing with orders, coming up and making sure you're aware of trends. Like, there was so much more than I ever expected. And I feel like you have to let people know that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to feel like a release didn't go well because something else happened. But also trying to find your group of people, to find people that you can lean on. And it doesn't matter if it's a big group or a little group. Like, even if it's 2 or 3 people that you feel like you can turn to advice. Finding somebody that's in a spot that's like one level ahead of you, because then they're going to have some advice for you. I remember so many times where I got screwed over by an editor that was terrible and took my money and just left me in a lurch, because now I have, this book that I have to then spend more money to get re-edited. Mm-hmm. And it just is, you will learn along the way. You don't know what you're doing. And even if you think you know what you're doing, you don't. I feel like it's so much like the hair world, where it's like you go to beauty school and then they unleash you on the world and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I taught in the beauty school industry for 9 years, and that was some of the things I would say, be like, we're here to help you build a foundation of a house. You're not going to learn how to build the house here. We're just giving you the foundation. You got to go to classes to learn.
you know, when people think about doing it, everybody's circumstances are different. But this became my like livelihood very quickly. And there is a different sense of urgency when you are single, and it is like, this is how you pay your bills, this is how this works, and you have to make it work well. So there's always this heavy pressure. And you know, a lot of women that I know have partners, boyfriends, husbands, other people that can help lighten the load, and that's amazing, and I am so glad for that for them. But I feel like if I had known to give myself just a little bit of grace, that I didn't have to be perfect. Like, you will learn, there will be mistakes, things will happen, technology happens, you'll lose something, Amazon will fuck up something. It's okay. It'll all work itself out. It may not be exactly how you wanted it to be or how you pictured it, but it's okay. It's not forever. Words can be changed on a piece of paper. Like, nothing is set in stone. You can always come back from something. And that, I think, is the hardest for creative people.
Right. Because you're hardest on yourself.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So I think that's my sage advice.
No, and it's heavy, but it's good. It's really good.
So this is a phrase that I learned early on, and I have no idea who said it to me. So I'm just gonna coin it as my own, because they didn't mean it in this context, but then I took it and ran with it. You have to be okay with the fact that you are not a pizza. You will never be able to make everybody happy with what you write. If a pizza cannot make everybody happy, then how the hell am I supposed to?
I just love that so much. You are not a pizza. I'm going to say that to myself, and people are going to look at me
not
like,
a pizza. But hey, if you get some rainbow freckles, you are going to make someone smile. I'm just saying. I'm so
obsessed.
Bethany, just get some rainbow freckles. You'll be fine.
You know, it's just a thing. It's like, everybody always feels like everybody can't not like somebody's work, and I'm like, I don't care. Like, if you're just like, hey, you know what?
Like,
not my cup of tea. Great.
But you're somebody's shot of whiskey. I'm just gonna say that. That is one of my favorite sayings of all time. Bethany has heard me say it so many times. I'm like, I may not be your cup of tea, but I am somebody's shot of whiskey.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's what I love it. Okay. So
I was gonna take away that I'm not pizza.
Yeah, you're not pizza.
It's the thing. It's like, you know, for some reason my family loved pizza, and we would all make our own. And so that was why in my brain I always counted it to being like, everybody was so picky in our family that we all had our own little pizzas, and we could all make them the way we want.
You made it work. You made it work. So that was I love that question before this one, just because, you know, that it is kind of a heavy question, and we love the answers we get because they're so different. But then the next question is like my next favorite one, which is, if you could choose one of your characters to help you hide a body, which one would it be?
I was like,
so this made me laugh because I was like, it wouldn't just be one. I would have an entire squad of people who are like, you get the shovel, you get the tarp. Who's got the dead dog that we're putting on top? Do we have a poisonous plant? Like, you know, we would have a system. Are we freezing him and putting him through a wood chipper? Like, what are we doing?
Dude, Sinners exclusive, right? Like a little tiny book, 10 pages. Question and just
of
that.
What you would do.
Just that.
You with your characters, I would die. I would buy that.
Well, has an author ever done that before? Like, I would love to read like a compilation of like authors and how they would interact with their own favorite characters, because I think that would be so funny. Like, I think that would be like just like a nice little breath of fresh air, right?
That'd be really fun.
People ask me if they're all in the same world, and I was like, no. Although sometimes I do leave little
Easter eggs.
Yeah,
you do. Yeah, I knew you would, girl. Like, you look like the type.
With all those books, you're just like, this is gonna fit in perfectly right over here.
Yeah.
While we're over here, that can easily tie into that. I am so excited. For Sinners this year, just finally getting to meet you in person. We're gonna fangirl at your table, 1000%. I have all the things like I'm looking forward to, but what are you most excited for this year's Sinners?
So readers are obviously, because they are the reason I have a job. They're the reason why I do what I do. They were so instrumental in supporting me through the time that I took off.
Mm-hmm.
And my readers mean the world to me. And I hope that I never lose that. I've told my friends and my family, I'm like, if I ever get to the point where I don't respect that anymore, please just take me out. Like, I need to be done. Like, if I can't find value, yeah, like, then I am no longer allowed to be in this industry. Just take me out. But I was so jealous seeing all of the photos. Just because it was like, everybody looked like they were having a blast. And I know some influencers and people who were there as volunteers as well. And everybody spoke so highly of the event. And that's what I love, is I want to support an event that supports everybody else. You know, when it was like, oh, a mistake happened or whatever, then it was like, all right, we're on it. We're fixing it. And it was just one of those things, especially because I was one of the unfortunate souls that was at Denver. So I have seen the pits of hell. And,
I like how we're all just like,
we're just like heavy breathing. Like...
Heavy breathing, randomly twitching. It's fine. For those of you who've listened on your radio, you understand this.
Yeah, I have PTSD.
It always makes me so happy though. Like that answer, it makes my day. Because again, I work a lot with the volunteers.
That is her baby. Like we literally just like, the podcast is my baby, and the volunteers, that is Bethany's world.
They are. I love that. Like they are my extended family. Like I appreciate them so much, and like the amount that they also love us back, type of thing. It's just this beautiful thing that just grows. And like you're saying, like something comes up. Oh, we're handling that. What are you talking about? We already have like 5 people heading that way. Like the way that like Red would come running. And I would be like, I hear her. Where'd she come from? Where are we going? That's all I'm like, I'm right here. Where should I be going? Like, what is happening? It just, again, like all that hard work and the amount, like, you know, you put in, and we just want people to always know, like, this is our whole world, you know?
Yeah.
And just like you're talking about with your readers, like if you ever lose that, I'm like, then we don't deserve to be doing it, you know? Like the amount of love for everybody.
That's such a gauge of an event. Any event you go to is you see how the volunteers are treated and how they respect each other and the environment that they're in, because that tells me exactly how well the management of the whole event will be.
Right.
Bethany literally created this whole system without doing it before, and created like a management system. So here I am, the loudest one in our group. You will always hear me before you see me. I'm always on socials. I do the podcasty stuff. Like I love the influencing stuff. And I get to the event and I'm like, Bethany, what am I doing? And she's like, oh no, I have 17,000 other people doing things. You're good. I'm like, well, what am I doing? What do I do? And she's just like, just go make sure people are good at their tables. I go, and then there's volunteers there. And they're like, oh, we're good, Red. I'm like, God damn it.
That's my favorite. The fact that, like, and when I would have a second, like, I would go to tables and just be like, everything good? I'd walk up with cups of water. Would you like a water? They have 4. No, we are good. 5 other people have asked us if we want water. We're good. Like, it was just always so funny. And, like, again, it just, everybody was happy. Everybody was so excited to just be like, oh, you need water? I got you, like, 16 things of water. Who else needs water in this area? Like,
it's the volunteers were the ones who got the most compliments from the authors. Like, I think that was the biggest thing I at least saw for me, because I hate... Threads is Threads, but like I would go on there right after the event, and like that was what people were talking about. They're like, the volunteers were amazing. And for you knew people that were volunteers and all that kind of stuff. Like what I'm excited for you to experience is just the organization of it, because that was something that I remember, and because I know we got to wrap things up, but I remember telling Bethany on the first day last year, I was like, I cannot breathe until we get through registration. Coming off the heels of 2024, our registration needs to be fucking flawless. And it was flawless. And then I went up to Bethany, I was like, I can breathe now, but now we have these 19,000 other things that no one can see that I'm worrying about, but I'm worrying about, you know? So I cannot wait to have you there. We are going to fangirl at your table. Like we literally can. And then we cannot wait for you to come see how we're doing the ball this year, because we're staying at the hotel. We took over the entire mezzanine. So yes, so you don't have to go upstairs. You get to stay on one floor. Everything's on one floor. And we have so many cool things coming. And like, I just love that you are taking your faith and putting it in us as well. Because like, that's, you know, we know that you know, you could choose other events and you're coming to ours. So like, thank you for that. Like, we're so excited to have you.
Yes. Every single person. We're always, I again, I came into like Monster and Omegaverse and stuff, and then I see these people that I've been looking up to and loving their work and just being like, this is on my TBR, and then they're like, oh, they're coming Sinners. What?
What?
Somebody?
Just so you know, we do that too. There are people that I have met that I'm like,
you're like, wait a second.
I love when I see authors fangirl. Because I'm like, your readers are fangirling over you, but you're fangirling over the person that's over there. Like, I love seeing that because it just goes to show that everyone's there for the same reason, a safe space to have fun. And that is just so, I don't know. We could talk about this and gush about this forever. Believe me and Bethany will. It's a sad thing. So, again, Miss Elizabeth Knight, you are freaking fantastic. You are incredibly talented. Your mind works in ways that I really want to delve into, but I feel like that would be inappropriate. So, lastly, one more time, how do we find you on socials?
Yes.
The best places to find me are on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram is the easiest place to find the link. It's in my bio, and there is everything you need on there.
And what's your Instagram handle?
Elizabeth Knight Author.
Elizabeth Knight
I'll try
Author.
and make
I
it
wasn't
as
sure if author was
as
before.
possible. Either way.
Look for the adorable little pink icon. That's her. Adorable.
Yeah. I do. I try and keep the same icons on all social media,
Yep.
so then there's
Nice.
image recognition of being like, yes, it's her. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, we love you guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you guys tune into the Dark Collective podcast. We are now every other Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and all the other time zones. Thanks again, and thanks again, Miss Elizabeth Knight. See you guys later.
Guys.
Bye.